And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Friday morning's flying weather showing IFR with the system coming down out of Russia here, spreading into the Yukon Delta coast. Marginal VFR on down to Togiak Bay and across the Pribilof Islands in the southern Bering Sea out to another area of IFR for the southwest Bering. And for the southeast coast, IFR to the east and north with marginal VFR down into Dixon Entrance extends up into the southeast interior. Could see some IFR here over the northwestern Copper River Basin, marginal VFR up to the Yukon Flats, as well as the Arctic coast and North Slope. And then for Friday afternoon, marginal VFR here for the southeast coast with Yakutat in that zone as well. But you can see a pretty good area of VFR out here over the Gulf of Alaska. Marginal VFR for south central Alaska, except central southern Cook Inlet, say Kenai southwestward into Kamishak Bay, Fognak Island. VFR there, IFR, western Alaska range or up to the Windy Pass area, including the park, and for the east side or through the Tanana Valley there, marginal VFR across the Yukon Flats, all the way up to the Arctic coast, some VFR here over the west central and northwest interior. IFR here over the southwest mountains, Auckland Mountains there, and marginal VFR, Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, and IFR out here over the southwest Bering Sea from about Amchitka Island westward, otherwise north of the central Aleutians. And then for Saturday morning, IFR here over the Tanana Valley, extending down into the Talkeetnas and along the western and northern part of the western Alaska range. Marginal VFR, say for Lake Clark and Merrill Passes. Otherwise, VFR, Susitna Valley, Cook Inlet there into Turnagain Arm with some lingering lower stuff over the Kenai Peninsula. Band of marginal VFR here from the Alaska Peninsula northward, Pribilof Island, St. Lawrence Island, and Nunivak Island, cutting across the western Seward Peninsula. IFR for the Brooks Range on out to the eastern Arctic coast, and IFR here out to the west and the southeast coast. North and eastern areas, IFR otherwise marginal, except Prince of Wales Island, seeing some pretty good VFR conditions down there that'll continue at times into the afternoon Saturday down across Dixon Entrance. Up to the north, looking at some IFR, otherwise not too shabby here over the interior, just some areas of marginal VFR for the eastern interior into the Alaska range with VFR for Kodiak Island, North Gulf Coast, and Alaska Peninsula northward all the way up to the Brooks Range, but north of the mountains up there, marginal VFR to the Arctic coast. And IFR, pretty good area here now pushing east of Atka Island, extending all the way back to the Komodorskis, and then better conditions over the eastern Bering Sea. Passes for Anatuvik and Adigan, kind of a marginal VFR day for both passes tomorrow. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR. Lake Clark could be a little bit better than Merrill, deteriorating as you head north, so calling rainy IFR. And windy, looks to be IFR as well. Isabel, marginal. Mentasta, VFR, possible marginal VFR, southern entrance. And for Tanita, marginal VFR. Portage, marginal VFR as well. And Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR. Freezing levels here, 2,000 feet down across Bristol Bay, and about 2,000 to 4,000 feet here over the eastern and southeast interior, and roughly 4,000 to 5,000 feet for the southeast coast. Out over the Aleutians here, about 6,000 to 8,000 feet over the central and western areas, a little cooler up here to the north. And for icing, next system pushing some considerable moderate icing into Shimei and Attu. Otherwise, just some areas of isolated moderate mixed icing possible here for the Alaska Peninsula up into Bristol Bay with that system coming southeastward here. And a better chance here over the central part of the state from northern Cook Inlet right up into the Tanana Valley to the Yukon River there. Could be considerable moderate in that zone, and with a big storm coming up off the southeast coast, that'll push a pretty good area of icing in over the Panhandle. And for the jet stream here, 33,000 foot wind flow charts showing southwest winds 160 knots across the Queen Charlotte Islands as a strong low pulls northward. This low coming southeastward has pretty good northwest winds up to 120 knots over the southeast Bering Sea, blowing across the Alaska Peninsula area. And then out to the west, another area of increased winds out here from the west-northwest at about 115 knots. At 9,000 feet, again, this low tracking southeastward, right over the southwest interior. Good winds on the west and southwest side of that, 55 to 70 knots here over the southwest Bering Sea. Lighter under higher pressure out here to the west. And this strong low pressure area tracking northward here off the southeast coast. Southwest winds up to 65 knots at 9,000 feet and 3,000 feet. Pretty strong as well, 50 to 60 knots southwesterly winds right into the southeast coast, more southerly here over the northern areas, and then southwest down toward Prince of Wales Island. Light over the interior here, and then this low again tracking southeastward, 55 to 60 knot winds there from Nunivak Island down across the Pribilofs and Alaska Peninsula, diminishing to and becoming northerly at about 30 knots through the Bering Strait. And for turbulence, with those stronger winds and that system coming down, look for considerable moderate turbulence, Kodiak Island, Alaska Peninsula, all the way up to Atka Island and along the Cape Newinham area here in this part of the southwest coast. Light to isolated moderate turbulence all the way up through the Bering Strait there, as you can see in the shaded area, to the northwest coast. And possible moderate to severe turbulence here along the central and south coast of the Panhandle.